Hey, it's Jen the Holistic Health Boss, your functional diagnostic health practitioner and expert. And this week I want to tell you a little story about why I stopped working out. Now, I stopped working out because my body told me to do so. As a former fitness competitor, a personal trainer, and someone who genuinely likes to be active, to sweat it out and use exercise and as an escape, this wasn't a very easy thing for me to do. I resisted it big time. I talked myself out of it many times before I actually embraced what my body needed from me the most at that time. The signs actually weren't very clear at first, and I was really confused. And here's what happened. Over the course of 2 years, I had slowly gained 15 pounds as a result from working from home full time and being exposed to toxic mold that then triggered a slew of health issues such as estrogen dominance, severe leaky gut, and ultimately Hashimoto's, an autoimmune thyroid condition. Now, I was excited to see a few pounds drop on the scale initially within the first few weeks of remediating the toxic mold in our home, starting my WP thyroid medication for Hashimoto's, and I transitioned to an autoimmune paleo diet to help support healing my gut. But the weight just seemed to stop coming off again, and I was stuck. The needle on the scale had only moved slightly despite all of my efforts with diet, sleep, exercise, taking a ton of supplements, removing toxins from my environment, and meditation. And this is where all of my old beliefs around calories in versus calories out started to resurface. And I was questioning whether my diet, the supplements that I was taking, the exercise that I was doing, and meditation that I was engaging in were actually working. I started to question maybe if I was eating too much, maybe I needed to work out more or harder in some respects, or maybe I needed to take more supplements because I just wasn't getting enough. So I continued to push along as I had been, hoping that this was just maybe a plateau of sorts, and if I just got over the hump, I would see results on the other side of it, as most of us feel or do, right? So I turned up the volume on my workouts, I put my head down in the sand and kind of just continued to push forward and onward. And 30 days later, the scale still hadn't moved at all. I was still stuck in the same place. So I racked my brain, I did some more research, and reconfirmed that I was actually doing all of the right things that I needed to do to reverse my hormones and heal Hashimoto's. I was eating the right types of food for my body, I was getting to bed before 10 p.m., I was meditating once, if not twice a day, and religiously taking supplements that were supporting my hormones, my immune system, my digestive system, detoxification, energy, and nervous systems. My workout routine was the one constant in the equation that hadn't changed along with everything else. I was still hitting the gym to lift weights 3 to 4 times a week, doing hill sprints on Fridays, running 2 to 4 miles a few times a week on top of that, and usually hitting a yoga class usually on Sundays or once a week. Now, most people would consider this a very normal and healthy exercise routine loaded with all kinds of health benefits. And yes, under the right circumstances, the routine that I had certainly was healthy. However, it wasn't what my body needed at the time, and that's what my body was ultimately trying to tell me. Now, exercise is typically a good stress. That is, unless the body is already under a lot of stress. So in this week's blog, I want to share more with you about how exercise kind of got in the way of healing my body and getting the results that I wanted to, and how to assess if it might be standing in your way too, ultimately for what it is that you want. So like I said, exercise is typically good for us. When we exercise, our body responds by building stronger bones and muscles, and we also get the added benefits of toxin elimination that happens through the lymphatic system and through sweat, among other health benefits that come along with exercise. Now, all of this is obviously good, right? Doesn't seem like there could be anything bad. However, when the body is already under a tremendous amount of stress from external and internal factors and existing health issues, exercise can deplete the body even more, which is what was happening to me. Exercise demands a lot from our bodies in terms of nutrients to rebuild muscle tissue, to build bone density, and for oxygen and blood delivery to happen. Exercise also elicits the sympathetic or fight or flight response, which is also known as a stress response that signals the production and utilization of the stress hormone known as cortisol. So when we are in fight or flight mode, the body sends all of its resources outwards for quick moving and quick thinking to respond to this stress, leaving little to no resources available for actual healing to happen. Now, I always like to say you have to get healthy to lose weight, not lose weight to get healthy, and that's what I needed to do. Due to the amount of stress my body had endured from being exposed to toxic mold and the domino effect that it had on my hormones, my body was nowhere near the healthy state that it needed to be, and it needed time and space to heal in order to support the weight loss that I so desired. By forcing myself to work out in my same old ways, I was just creating a higher demand of resources and stress that my body simply could not accommodate as it was trying to go through this healing process. So I had to take a step back and evaluate the overall burden of stress on my body that it was already dealing with. And then I had to take empowered action to reduce the stress even more in order to create the space that my body needed to heal so I could receive the results that I desired in terms of weight loss. So I stopped working out when I realized that I could lose more weight by actually doing less, or that way. As soon as I stopped working out in my old ways, my body instantly responded in so many positive ways. My energy went up and my weight slowly but steadily started to come off. And overall, I just felt better about myself and in my body in general. Now, I'm not the only one who has experienced weight loss like this without working out. One of my clients actually in our work together recently noted that he had lost 40 pounds without having a workout routine in place, simply by focusing on improving his health and reducing the burden of stress on his body. This is what David had to say. The most dramatic change for me has been my weight. I'm down 40 pounds since working with Jen. The next biggest change has been with the quality of my sleep. I sleep through the night much more often than before. From my client, David. Oftentimes we think more is better. This belief is something that has been basically ingrained in our modern day culture, but more is not always better. In fact, I find that less tends to be better in a lot of different cases for us, not just with exercise. So the moral of the story is certainly not to stop working out, it's to listen to what your body needs and to respond to that. There are many ways to move your body and receive the health benefits of moving without placing too much of a demand on your body or overloading its stress when it's already in a stressful state. For a few months, I shifted my focus to include more restorative type of movement and exercise such as yoga and long walks with my dog, and by simply getting up from my desk and moving about more throughout the day and taking breaks so that I was moving my body. As soon as my body had healed and it was ready to take on more intense exercise, it certainly let me know that it was ready to do that too. Now that my weight is back to my personal normal, my hormones are balanced, my energy is strong, and I'm in remission with Hashimoto's, I'm working out with a trainer twice a week, back to my running and sprinting routine again, and I love it. So if you suspect that exercise might be getting in the way of you having better health, or you want to assess the possible burden of stress that your body might be under, then I want to invite you to schedule a complimentary Ideal Health and Weight Discovery session by clicking on the link below or going back to the email where you found this, so that we can get on the phone and chat about some of these details as they might relate to you, and investigate what is going on with your body and what tools and resources or support you might need in order to get the results that you desire to. So see where you can tune into your body today and start listening to some of the signs that it's giving you, and take that empowered action to give it what it needs so that you can feel your best. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I'll see you next week on the blog.